There's a specific kind of emptiness that's harder to name than loneliness. You're not alone. He's right there. He texts you, he calls you, he shares your bed. And yet, somewhere deep in your chest, you feel it. The absence of true presence. The sense that if you disappeared tomorrow, he'd simply rearrange his plans. This is the ache of being someone's second choice. It doesn't show up in grand betrayals or obvious neglect. It hides in the in-between moments, the plans that never materialize, the inconsistent affection, the way he lights up when someone else enters the room. It's subtle, almost deniable, but your body knows, your gut knows. You just haven't dared to call it what it is. You might not be his person. You might be his backup plan. And yet you stay, partly because leaving would mean confirming what you've been afraid to admit. That you've invested love, hope, maybe even years into someone who never truly chose you. Not first, maybe not even second. But this is where it starts to change, with truth. Because once you see the signs clearly, you can no longer unsee them. You can no longer stay blind to a relationship built on contingency instead of conviction. Over the next chapters, we will uncover the 5 unmistakable signs that you are not the leading lady in his story, but the understudy. And more importantly, we'll show you how to step out of that role, reclaim your worth, and refuse to play a part in someone else's half-hearted life. Because being a backup isn't just about where you stand in his heart. It's about where you've placed yourself in your own. The first sign? He's inconsistent, only present when it's convenient. When his world is quiet, he texts. When it's loud, you disappear. When it suits him, he's sweet. When it doesn't, you're a burden. It's not random. It's a pattern. And recognizing it is your first act of self-respect. Ready to go deeper? Let's talk about inconsistency. Not as a personality quirk, but as a system. When a man treats you like a backup plan, his behavior often follows a clear but unspoken logic. You are available when others are not. This is sign number 1. His effort depends on his options. Think about it. When he's bored, when other women aren't responding, when he's between distractions, suddenly you receive a sweet message. He misses you. He wants to see you. But where is that energy when life is exciting for him? When he's busy chasing someone else's attention, your name gathers dust in his phone. This isn't love. It's emotional rationing. It's about convenience, not commitment. This dynamic is subtle because it mimics affection. It's easy to confuse a sudden surge of interest with genuine feeling. But affection that disappears when someone better shows up was never affection at all. It was a placeholder to keep you emotionally tethered while he explored other options. Psychologically, this is a form of intermittent reinforcement, the same trick used in gambling and addiction. The brain becomes hooked not by consistency, but by unpredictability. When love becomes a slot machine, you stay longer, hoping for another hit of affection. And he knows it, maybe not consciously, but he knows that just enough attention, just enough warmth will keep you there. Here's the hard truth. If you only hear from him when other things fall through, you are not his priority. You are his plan B, his comfort zone, his fallback, and you might justify it. He's just busy. He's not good at texting. He's going through a lot. But busy people make time for what they care about. They don't disappear for days and then reappear with charm and excuses. The reason you feel confused is because you sense you are being managed, not loved. You're being kept warm, close enough, but never fully claimed. The emotional cost? You begin to question your worth. You start tiptoeing, trying to be enough to earn more consistent affection. But you're playing a game you weren't meant to win. Because if you win, he loses the very dynamic that gives him power. He doesn't want to give you everything. He wants to give you just enough so you never leave, but not enough so you ever fully stay. It's not your fault. But it is your responsibility to see the pattern and name it. Sign number 1 is simple but devastating. His attention isn't anchored in love. It's floating in availability, and you just happen to be there when no one else is. Recognizing this is the beginning of freedom. This is sign number 2. You initiate everything: conversations, plans, emotional intimacy. Look at the rhythm of your connection. Who sends the first message most of the time? Who suggests spending time together? Who checks in when things feel off? If the answer is consistently you, what you re-experiencing ISN to your relationship. It is emotional labor disguised as love. And over time, it wears you down, because there's a profound loneliness in being the only one trying. At first, it may have felt subtle. He was easygoing, you told yourself. Not a planner. Maybe he liked you taking the lead. Some men do, right? But slowly, you began to notice. The absence of effort wasn't balance. It was neglect. There is a reason you were constantly trying to keep the connection alive, because if you didn't, it would die. That realization is sobering. You've been holding the relationship on your back, mistaking silence for peace and emotional absence for emotional simplicity. But here's what's true. If he wanted to, he would. Effort doesn't mean grand gestures. It means texting without a prompt, making plans without being reminded, noticing when your mood shifts, checking in, not checking out. When you're the only one initiating, the emotional message is clear. This relationship exists because you refuse to let it die. And in doing so, you become both the architect and the caretaker, while he simply shows up when it suits him. This is a hidden dynamic of being someone's backup plan. You're not ignored entirely, just enough to make you feel unseen, but not abandoned. He leaves the door open, just wide enough for hope to survive. The psychological damage? You begin to equate love with effort. Your effort. You start measuring your worth by how well you can hold him, help him, or fix things. But that's not love. That's survival. A relationship should be two people reaching toward each other, not one person reaching while the other leans back. Not one person asking questions while the other gives one-word answers. Not one person planning everything while the other shrugs and says, "Whatever you want." And here's the hardest part. You start to internalize the silence. You begin to believe it's you, that if only you were more fun, more sexy, more laid back, he'd try more. But his lack of effort isn't about your worth. It's about his priorities. When someone truly values you, they don't leave you guessing. They don't need reminding that you exist. You'll never have to wonder where you stand, because their effort speaks for them. So if you're redoing all the initiating, if the love you're receiving only arrives when you chase it down, take a step back. You might not be in a relationship. You might just be in love. Alone. This is sign number 3. He only shows up when he needs validation. Not love, not connection, not growth, just validation. It often comes disguised as sweetness. Out of the blue, he tells you he misses you. He calls you beautiful. He asks how you've been. And for a moment, your heart softens. You believe maybe, just maybe, he's finally seeing you. But watch closely. These moments are almost always followed by silence. Or even worse, they're bookended by distance. He disappears for weeks, then comes back with charm. It's a cycle. And the deeper truth beneath it is this. He doesn't want you. He wants how he feels when you want him. He feeds on your attraction, your desire, your emotional investment. You make him feel wanted, important, centered. You're the mirror he uses to feel whole again when the world bruises his ego. But the moment you need something back, depth, stability, real intimacy, he recoils. He's not here to give, only to receive. And here's where it gets emotionally devastating. You begin to crave the very crumbs he throws at you. You start adjusting yourself, your boundaries, your voice, your expectations, just to keep those fleeting moments of attention alive. It's not love, it's addiction. Because somewhere along the way, you stopped asking, "Do I feel cherished?" and started asking, "Did I do enough to be noticed today?" You become a performer on his stage, not a partner in his life. Why? Because you've been cast as his emotional backup, not his choice, his fallback. And here's the brutal truth. He knows you'll be there when he needs to feel good again. And whether consciously or not, he uses that knowledge to his advantage. This isn't about whether he's a bad person. It's about what he's capable of giving. And right now, he's not building a relationship. He's building a fan club, and you're the only member. But you were never meant to be someone's emotional refill station. You were meant to be seen, heard, chosen. The longer you stay in this cycle, the more it distorts your view of real connection. You begin to expect love to feel like anxiety, like waiting, like proving. But that's not what love is. Real love meets you. It doesn't need to be chased. It doesn't vanish when you're not useful. And it certainly doesn't reduce you to a tool for someone else's self-esteem. So if his pattern is consistent, if he only appears when he needs a fix, you're not in a relationship. You're in a transaction. And that transaction has a cost. Your peace, your clarity, your self-worth. It's time to ask, are you in love with him? Or are you in love with how it feels when he briefly returns? Because if it's the latter, you already know. You're the backup plan. This is sign number 4. He never talks about the future, at least not with you in it. You might have noticed it. The way he dodges questions about where things are going. The awkward silence when you bring up next steps. The non-answers. The vague, "we'll see," or "I'm just figuring things out right now." It's subtle but chilling. Because here's the thing. When a man sees you as his actual person, the woman he wants to build with, he might not have all the answers, but he's not afraid to include you in the questions. He wants to imagine a life with you, even if it's messy, even if it's uncertain. But when you're the backup plan, his language shifts. Everything becomes temporary, conditional, rehearsed. You'll hear things like, "I'm not ready for anything serious right now. I've just been hurt before. I just need to work on myself." And yet, somehow, he still wants your body, your time, your loyalty. This is where it gets deceptive. He doesn't want you to leave, but he also doesn't want to choose you. Why? Because to him, you're the comfort in between, the emotional placeholder, the space where he rests until something better, or simply more exciting, comes along. He's keeping his exit quiet, but that exit exists. He's building a future, just not with you. That's why you feel the emotional ambiguity. That's why your intuition keeps whispering, "This feels hollow." It's because it is. And deep down, you know it. You've started to feel the erosion of your confidence, your self-trust, your sense of direction. Being someone's afterthought doesn't just wound your heart. It disorients your identity. You begin to shrink your dreams just to make room in his uncertainty. You begin to silence your needs, believing that asking for more will push him away. But here's the paradox. If asking for more pushes him away, he was never staying. If your presence isn't met with clarity, it's being met with calculation. A man who truly sees you doesn't leave your heart in limbo. He doesn't dangle promises without action. He doesn't keep you just close enough to use, but far enough to escape accountability. So ask yourself, does he include you when he talks about the future? Does he voluntarily express what he sees unfolding, not just for himself, but with you? Or does he change the subject, pull back, or suddenly become unavailable the moment the relationship starts feeling real? Because that's the clearest sign of all. He's planning an ending you don't even know is being written. You deserve a story you get to co-author, not one where you're written out in the final chapter. And if you've become the filler between his past pain and his future plans, it's time to choose something radical, yourself. Because you were never meant to be the maybe. You were meant to be the answer. Sign number 5. He's addicted to how you make him feel, but not to you as a person. This one is the hardest to face, because it can look so much like love. He compliments you. He kisses you like he means it. He says all the right things when you start to pull away. He even tells you he misses you when you're not around. But here's what you'll start to notice if you look closely. He's drawn to the effect you have on him, not the essence of who you are. You make him feel desired, wanted, important, less lonely, more powerful. And for a man who hasn't yet developed a stable identity, that's intoxicating. But it's not intimacy. It's ego maintenance. Because when someone truly loves you, they seek to know you. They become fascinated not by how you decorate their world, but by what exists inside your own. Your fears, your boundaries, your past, your principles, your potential. When you're his backup plan, he rarely asks the real questions. He doesn't dig deep. He doesn't remember the details. He doesn't sit with your complexity. Why? Because he has not in it to understand you. He has in it to feel something about himself. He wants the mirror you hold up, not the soul behind it. He wants your gaze when he's insecure, your body when he's lonely, your praise when he's broken. But the moment you ask for real connection, for depth, for consistency, for reciprocation, you become too much, too emotional, too intense. The truth? You're not too much. He's just too empty. And emptiness loves a quick fix. It loves validation that requires no responsibility. It loves affection that demands no growth. So he takes, and takes, and takes, until you're drained, and then somehow blamed for it. He'll say things like, "You're being dramatic. I didn't ask you to do all that. You knew what this was." But behind those words is a quiet confession. I never truly chose you. I just liked the way you made me feel. This is the cruelest kind of ghosting, the emotional presence without the emotional commitment. You're there. You're available. You're investing. But his heart is always slightly turned away. And here's the heartbreaking reality. No matter how amazing you are, how loving, supportive, giving, you cannot fill the emptiness he refuses to confront. You can't be his reason to heal. You can't be his self-worth. You can't be his home if he keeps leaving the door open for someone else. So if you find yourself constantly wondering, why am I giving so much and still feeling like a stranger? This is your answer. You're not the woman he wants to see. You're the woman he wants to use, to feel something fleeting before moving on. And no matter how convincing he may sound, no matter how many times he pulls you back in, if he doesn't want the real you, then he doesn't get any of you. This isn't cruelty. It's clarity. You don't exist to complete broken men. You exist to be chosen fully, freely, and with both feet in. And until that happens, walk away from anyone who only loves the reflection, but not the soul.